Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Oscar's Cozy Corner, or welcome if you are new. Today, I have a really fun long play video for you. It is a decorating video down in the Peaceful Meadow. So you can see behind me that it is already decorated, but today we are going to start from scratch, starting with a completely blank slate. I'm going to be decorating the Peaceful Meadow in a fall/autumn theme that is kind of teetering a little bit towards Halloween, but nothing too spooky just yet. My main focus is reds, oranges, yellows, fall, autumn, all of that good stuff. So I'm really excited to get going. I'm hoping that you enjoy it. Fingers crossed that you do. I know this is a long video, but I'm going to get straight into it considering it is pretty lengthy. Let's get going. Let's start with a blank slate and let's decorate this biome together. All right, so I have cleared out my meadow. We are starting with a pretty blank canvas now for this particular biome, and it is pretty big actually when you clear everything out. What I have done, instead of creating a mood board this time, I've put down some of the bigger items that I think I want to use, primarily houses. So I've got this Belle's Cottage one, we've got the Fairy Godmother's house, we've got this Wilted Flower Cottage, and then we've also got this Enchanted Cottage as well. And I am thinking of popping Wally's Garden in this new build and in this space. I do feel like it fits pretty well with the meadow. So I don't really have much of a plan, or at least the concept of a plan to begin this build. We're just going to kind of go with the flow and see where it takes us a little bit. So that is the plan. But first things first, I'm going to maybe just pop some of these houses in maybe the places where I think I would like to use them. So I do typically tend to keep Fairy Godmother up in the Forgotten Lands, but given that this is going to be an autumn or a fall themed Peaceful Meadow, I mean, there's not much more fall than pumpkins. So we are going to bring her down into this space. I do feel like this corner over here, maybe close-ish to the pond, is a nice little spot for Belle's cottage, because we do have the water source there, and there is a little well coming off it, as well as this sort of like wheel turner. So I don't actually think, unless we pop Fairy Godmother there, and then we could maybe do this wilted one a little bit closer to this sort of like root arch. We can ignore the glade. That is still on the list to do. But I feel like aesthetically they kind of match because it goes into that glade sort of vibe. And then that enchanted cottage could maybe sit just in that corner. And I'm thinking of just kind of having this all maybe a little bit wilder than I would for like a structured build, kind of like the plaza. So I'm thinking more trees, more natural pathing. I don't know, there's a lot of space. It's quite intimidating actually when you look at it like that. There is a lot of space. So maybe we end up popping Fairy Godmother somewhere over here for now. And we'll work it out. We'll work it out. So I do have a bunch of autumn themed items because the game does give us so many. And like I said, I don't have a mood board or anything like that down right now. But if you go through the list and you kind of filter by orange, that's typically what I do. I find that easier to search for the things I'm after. And I was thinking of maybe putting this Pumpkin Mickey topiary as like the centerpiece, but when the biome is empty, it feels like the smallest centerpiece in the world. So I'm not sure. I feel like this could have been triple the size, and that's what I would have needed. Because it looks kind of sad just by itself there. So maybe we find something else. I'm going to take a look at the gazebos actually. I'm going to see if we have any decent gazebos that could work. But the problem is none of the ones that I have are really fall themed. Like I love this luminous butterfly one. But if I'm going with a, kind of like a wild and natural aesthetic, the same as these houses, then I'm not entirely sure that this fits the bill as pretty as it is, but I am going to do something up in the Forgotten Lands with that because it does look absolutely gorgeous. But let's just continue to use this little Mickey as the centerpiece for now. I do wish that I could use my arrow keys to actually move things around because it would help me keep things properly aligned. So that's kind of in the middle. And I was thinking of maybe just having maybe some spokes coming off it. Possibly. Shift that over just one like that. I mean, that's a pretty fall welcoming, right? This entrance. And then maybe... Actually, maybe we can move Wally's garden into this kind of corner. And let that have its own... Let that have its own space. And then I wonder if this side... Because this is a pretty small house. Unless we put it next to Fairy Godmother's garden. I wish we could flip it because I would... Well, I guess I could just move the house. Come on, Oscar. Use that brain. Okay. We'll go with that for now. And I'm just going to grab maybe some pathing in anything that I have a lot of. So I've got this snowy one, which I'm going to use as like a placeholder. I just like using a path that I have a lot of, and then I can replace it at a later date. So let's pop all of this down. I think that is one tile too many. Yeah, it seems to be. I don't know if that actually lines up properly. Oh, it does. It was just me making a mistake. This is another day of me asking for a filling in tool. Pretty please, Gameloft. To be able to fill in an outlined path. Then maybe we'll have Goofy's stall over there. I mean, there's not really much going on over here at the moment, but I do have to remember that these are not the only... You know, these are not the only items that we're going to be using. I do have furniture items, so even though they are taking precedence right now, we'll be able to fill the space with some other stuff too. Just looking at this section and wondering whether that fits a little bit better over there, because those kind of like, I don't know, those branches, those root branches are kind of coming up in that section too. So maybe I drop that in there. And I feel like I'm missing a space for this house. Unless we pop that like... This is quite unconventional for me to do something like this. I'm used to kind of putting big items in the corners and then taking paths off to them, but we can break the rules. We could have a path coming off this one and one going around the back. That could work. Maybe we'll do something like that. I'm still not happy with this section, but I'm going to maybe we'll just start bringing some sort of path over towards Bells. Kind of like this. Something like that. And then maybe we can have another one coming off to this enchanted cottage. Could we have it like a little bit more, I don't know, well trodden? If that's the phrase we'll use. Winding. That's the phrase. That's the phrase. I'm going to move that back just underneath the house a little bit more. Just like that. So the steps kind of like go right on to the path. I think that's cute. And then there's like, and then there's a little pond either side of it. So that's pretty. That's cute. We can enclose that in kind of like one space. Don't forget this snowy path is not going to remain. Maybe we just do a little extra. Because when you actually do a 3-width path, you can start kind of like chipping away at some of the corners to make it feel a little bit more rounded. I know we have diagonal paths, but honestly, I'm still, for certain builds, I think they work really well. I'm just still kind of not vibing with them just yet. Like if I change this all to diagonal, I don't know, that feels more structured than kind of like the jagged edges. And it really depends on what we end up using. So if we use the leaf strewn path without the border, it looks okay. And if I change those side shapes, I don't know, it feels more structured. But I'm just going to return to the snowy one for now. And we'll just keep kind of working on making this feel a little bit more winding. And we can definitely use one of the really old tricks of having kind of like stones on the edge of this path to make it feel that little bit more wild. But I think that's... Let me get rid of... Let me get rid of those ones and maybe just have it come under. You know, like that. Great. And I might not end up using any path at all, actually, because we do have something from the Oasis Star Path, which I do think I'm going to use a lot of in this build, the Oasis Retreat, and that is these Garden Path stones. So those really fit kind of like that warm aesthetic that I'm going for. Nothing else from this Star Path fits, because that was a very niche Star Path. But I do think that those look quite good when mixed in kind of like with this path. So, you know, something like that is really nice. So I'm going to leave one of those out for now, just so I remember to actually use it. And then I also think that I might get some of the grass down now, because I do want some, not the beach grass, but I do want some of the, well, maybe it is the beach grass. I think the beach grass has a slightly larger footprint and is lighter. It is. So I want some of the beach grass down because that really kind of like leans into that wild theme. It's just a little bit of a pain that you can't overlap it on the path. I wish that you could. I feel like there's not really any reason why you shouldn't be able to, but yeah, it's just, it's one of those things. I'm going to swap this back out for the bordered one, just because I like how the border looks. I'm going to add a little decorative flair on each corner, and it might be that we split this path kind of in two. So maybe we have a really nice fixed one in the middle with some fencing, and then it goes off kind of like onto some sort of, I don't know, walkway, leafy walkway around the outside. That could look really nice. But for now, I think this is a solid start. I am going to bring one of these paths out from underneath this house, and I'm just going to quite literally do whatever feels right. So I'm just going to kind of do something like this. I don't know, maybe we can put something in there going around a tree of some sort, and then it kind of like comes out the back around the pond. And then I guess we could have it maybe connect round about there. I'm going to come out of furniture mode so I can see if that saves. Again, I am having a really annoying bug where it doesn't always save my work. Fingers crossed this one does. You can see how long it takes to save. Sometimes it takes like almost a minute. And it's usually when I'm working with pathing. But that all looks like it saved just okay. Scar is sitting down and having some sort of meal or cleaning his teeth, I think. Then we can start building this out just a little bit more. So I start by just adding an extra bit to each of it. Then we can pull that across. That one, maybe add a little bit there. Maybe bring this down slightly. Get rid of that one. Pull that all the way over. Although that goes against my tree, if we're going to have some sort of tree back here to walk around. And this is feeling all quite blocky at the moment and pretty squared off, so I will need to make some adjustments to make this feel just a little bit more fluid. Kind of like that. And then if I bring that out, maybe we just do one more tile there. Bring this over. Just extend all of that to at least 2. And then in some areas we'll go to 3. And then it's really those kind of like diagonally little bits that make it feel a bit more rounded. I take that corner off. I could bring that out just a little bit there. Something like that. Maybe there and there. Yeah, that's kind of cute. For a relatively natural path, I like how that's looking. Still not sold on where Wally's is, I can't lie. Maybe it needs to be over this side. That also doesn't feel right. It's just some, I tell you what it is. It's something about these steps coming down. I'm like, well, I feel like that needs to lead somewhere. But honestly, I'm not entirely sure where it needs to lead. Yeah. Unless I just pop it kind of like over here. And maybe we have a specific pumpkin patch for Fairy Godmother. And then I can keep Wally's little section just all by itself. Kind of over there. Because I can still access those mining nodes that way. Without getting stuck in the trees. And then Wally could just be selling the produce from this area at Goofy's. Which means I will bring a little path out just to this house. We just have it like 1 or 2 further back. Just like that. All right. Just going to move that out of the way. And I think I'm just going to delete this right now. And I'm going to change all of this to the Main Street path, which is my favorite. And then we're going to save that. and let that do its thing, because that feels autumnal. That path is super autumnal. You can't tell me that it isn't. And then I can have this one apparently eat into it. That's not what I that's not what I wanted whatsoever, but have it just butt up to the edge. And then if I come down to fencing, now I know that I spoke about this being a little bit more natural, but I still think it's okay to have a little bit of structure in this section. So I'm going to bring this fencing into here and have it kind of like walk through into this section. And then actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make this a teeny tiny bit more central or a bit more plaza-like. So I'm going to bring these down. Bring these down. Maybe we can use some shrubs in this section. We might go back and edit it later on. But at least then it goes right up to the edge of that. And then I'm going to grab a fence and we're just going to take it all the way down to there. So we at least have a little something to begin with. I wonder if we... I don't like that. So maybe... because I think it has to be 4. It does. It has to be 4 for it to fit. But I also don't want it to have that single pole in the middle, so we might be able to replace that with maybe a tree? I don't know. I don't know. I'll just keep saying I don't know, but I don't know. But this is what I'm doing for right now. All right. That doesn't feel great. But let's move on. So now I'm going to swap this out. I kind of don't know whether to go with mud. No, I don't think mud works. I feel like the leaf borders are much better for an autumn vibe. I kind of wish this one blended a teeny tiny little bit better into the substrate. Like I wish there was a more feathered edge to it. Okay. And looking at this, where could we pop these? Maybe one either side? I know we have the Dreamlight Day banner as well, and I'm not sure if you can place more than one of those down. I can't remember if you can buy... well, it's certainly not going to be in my inventory, so I'm not sure why I've just clicked that and allowed it to resave, but I'm not sure if you can buy more of the Dreamlight banner. Because I think it was quest related. Oh, I do have 2. Wait, no, this may be craftable. So ignore me. Whatever happens, I have 2, which is nice because they are much wider. But they still have a decent amount of impact. So I could kind of have one on either side. Like that. It seems as though this side matches up, but this side doesn't, but... well, actually, why don't I just... why am I placing it there, awkwardly on the outside, when I could get rid of these and have that exactly in their place? Yeah, that works much better. Look at that. I should have done that from the start. Now, I don't know if anybody's been to any theme parks in the UK, but there is a theme park called Alton Towers. It's probably my favorite one in the UK, and this banner just reminds me of Alton Towers. It's kind of how they decorate for autumn there. But I don't know, there's just something about that kind of like jack-o'-lantern pumpkin style with the almost farmy vibes. I feel like it's kind of farmy vibes. But it just reminds me of Alton Towers, which I have a lot of good memories of, so it's very nostalgic for me. You can see I've not got enough of the leaf-strewn path now, so I will have to craft some more of that. But I think this is a good start. I will need to find somewhere to place the well. Now, I don't actually have any... I mean, I have the Neverland Wishing Well, but I guess it could kind of match this house a little tiny bit. Am I happy spawning behind that house every time? I'm undecided on that just yet, but I'm gonna... Alright, I'm gonna pop that down for now. And I kind of just want to take a look at what else we have that might be a little bit autumnal. I know we do have these 4 leaves, but they are from cocoa, so they do have a crazy glow to them. I mean, I might be able to make like a little, maybe a pond or something with like glowing leaves. That could be a bit whimsical. I can't put the grass on it. Maybe I can check and see if I can put one of the rocks on it, or any of the rocks on it. It might be the case that nothing can go on this. Oh no, the rocks can go on it. Okay. And I wonder if the little ones can too. Oh, and so can the little ones. Okay, we can make something out of that. I'll just pop that over here for now. Because I actually feel like that's kind of brighter in the day than it is at night. Which is a little bit strange, but I know we have... Well, I have some of the autumn bundle stuff, which has like this carriage, the leaves that throw out a table. We could always do a table, and then the cornucopia that goes on that. I do have the bind fountain, but well, it kind of matches Belle's actually a little bit. So maybe I'll save that for Belle. We have this. The bind stuff actually does match an autumn theme really well, so I'm gonna drop a bunch of those, at least for now. I don't really want to bring in anything spooky just yet to this biome. I'm kind of like leaning towards just doing autumn themed. I mean, maybe I can have some jack-o'-lanterns, some carved pumpkins. The bountiful marigold basket, that is definitely one that I want. And I think, unless I wanted to introduce, does the Tower of Terror fit? Does the Tower of Terror fit autumnal? I mean, it kind of matches with everything else, but I mean, it's kind of autumnal, I guess. Unless I move the Wilted Cottage near to Wally's, and we had the Tower of Terror over in this back corner. That's kind of the entrance to it. Maybe I'll... Okay, that doesn't give autumn. What am I doing? Oscar, get it together. No, we're deleting that. I'm getting carried away with my parks love. I can't help it. I'm going to ride the Tower of Terror very soon, so what can I say? I think that there's only a couple of more like autumn specific items left. I don't even know if I have all of them. But pumpkins and gourds are most certainly autumn vibes. And that's it for orange. The other color that I did want to filter by was brown. Now the brown filter is very brown. But I do think if I can actually grab this little ticker, there is stuff that I feel like is autumnal, which is this natural kind of like wood aesthetic. So the trellis, you know, the trellis archway, the other birdhouses, the flower boxes. This is all stuff that I see as being autumnal. So this is always typically hiding in this brown filter, especially when you have a lot of furniture in the game. When you go to the all tab, it does end up feeling quite overwhelming unless you know what you're actually looking for. We can bring out a sack, maybe. I don't think the vine wall is all that appropriate for this, even though it does have some autumny vibes. The archery stand could be a cute idea. I'm not really thinking of this biome decoration in terms of like parks or anything like that, because I'm usually thinking about like, okay, well, what if this was a theme park that somebody is visiting? But for this, I just kind of want it to look pretty, if I'm being honest, and just bring in some of those autumn vibes. So it's not really going to have any function, but these are the bits that I was looking for. So like the cart, the tool rack, maybe the stall, crates. I mean, they kind of feel autumnal. It's kind of like a little functional autumn biome. I don't know if we need more hay, but there's there's always more hay available. And I think that might honestly be nearly it for usable items. I guess there is like this that's got bugs on it. I really love this lamppost, but it's just the bugs. And I do love this Watchful Hyena cave. I can't believe this was in Scrooge's. Honestly, part of me thinks that this was a mistake. I still think that this was meant to be a premium shop item. But it happened, I think, around the time of the Evil Queen outfit being in Scrooge's. And I just think that they didn't want to double that up, which they ended up having to give us for free. So they ended up just leaving it. But yeah, it definitely feels like more of a premium item. Now this Winnie the Pooh tree is autumn. It is autumn. So that actually makes me wonder whether I also bring in that Pooh Bear sort of honey house. I know it was kind of marketed like as Winnie the Pooh, but also not quite. So I'm just looking at everything else we have, and I think that might just be about it, unless I have any of the other pergolas, which I don't think I have an orange one. If I actually search pergola. No, I've got the orange and the red. I mean, the red could work if I bring in some of the red ones, but then again, so could the yellow. So if I go back to the houses and I find that honey house, where is it? House. Then I scroll all the way down. The golden beehive house. I mean, I feel like I do need to include that. So that just makes me wonder where the heck I put it. Unless we have... Maybe this does not fit here. Maybe Fairy Godmother does need to head on over to this section. And then we bring in this. Somewhere around here. Actually, if we swap those... Maybe have that just there. And then this big tree. Somewhere about there. That feels cute because we don't have to fill every, and that's what I'm not trying to do. I'm not trying to fill every single inch of available space in this biome because one, the decorating limit, I don't want to go overboard. And two, what I tend to do when I do my builds is I pack a lot of stuff into a small space, which is great for really filling it out. But I've recently been trying to do builds that do not have as much stuff in them. So it makes just moving around the valley a little bit easier. And I think we can get away with that with this. So for now, I think this is okay. I am going to maybe bring another path out just to the entrance of those steps. Kind of like that. And then I just don't want it to go, you know, I don't want it to go under the grass. Let's save that. I mean, it's looking cute from my eye level already. We will find a home for Wally's garden. That I am certain of. Okay, this is cute. I'm happy with how this is looking. Just gonna pop that somewhere by there. This is kind of how my brain works. I as hard as I try to focus on one section at a time, I end up just going all out and doing a bunch of different things at once. So do bear with me. This is all about spending a little bit of time together, right? I don't know how long this is going to end up being. This could be hours long, but if it is, try and make it worth your while. I guess we could do maybe one of these in this section. That's kind of cute. And then maybe if I have the ability, I could place something underneath here. But I think we will do... I wonder what would happen if I kind of fenced Wally's garden in entirely. Can you do that? Yeah, you can still have the trellises running right up against it, which is cute. You can kind of have a fully enclosed garden. Move this back so it's in line. And then I move you back so you're in line. And that's kind of like its own little space. I wonder if I could actually fit. Now this is not going to look good. But this is my favorite cooking station table because it's so quick. Yeah, I mean, that works for me. That works for me. And then I can maybe pop Fairy Godmother's house just in this section. And maybe she can be Goofy's saleswoman, I should say. Or I have it kind of right there. I guess we could angle it. Although that feels a little bit tight. I can't lie, I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% happy with that, but we persevere. What I am thinking is that my eyes are being deceived because I have all of this junk here, so there is actually quite a big gap. So maybe there's another space that we can fill. Maybe that's in the wrong place. What I would love is to be able to like click and drag and group everything. That would be a dream. I guess I could kind of put that up there. That could work. Actually, that could work. Let's line that up. Then we could have the exit maybe there. Or we could even have it on the other side. Although I don't think I can have... No, I can't have an extra trellis there, which is a bit of a pain. What did I do then on that side? Did I... I thought I had the... Oh, I didn't. I just didn't have anything there. Okay. Not me gaslighting myself. Yeah, okay. Let's move that. Into this section. And then drop that just like that. And then I guess we could have those running all the way down. No, I like what we I like what we had at the very beginning. So we can do that. And then I can always block that off with like, I don't know, a little something. But I'm gonna move that Vizier's table, a cooking station in there. And we'll just kind of like hide that in the corner so you can't really tell. Cute. I'm happy with how that looks. Now, I know that all of this, kind of as is, looks a little bit bare, but what's really going to tie all of this biome together is the foliage and the trees that we're going to put in. So I think I'm going to do that a little bit later on, because what happens when you place a bunch of trees down, especially ones like this, is you essentially block off your visibility when decorating. So I kind of want to get everything that's kind of like base level or ground level down first. Then we're going to do like shrubs and other items, and then we'll probably do trees last. As long as I have a general idea of where I'm going to place any clusters of trees or things like that, I think we'll be fine. But yeah, that is on my agenda. Trees, shrubs, those are the things that I really value when I'm decorating, and I think they bring the most life and the most realism to a build. I think I moved that one tile too far. I'm also a bit of a well, one, a perfectionist, but two, pedantic, I suppose. I really like to try and make things line up where I can as much as possible, just in a way that it's kind of satisfying to me. I'm looking at these rugs. I was wondering if maybe I could place them under here, but I don't think... No, I don't think they can interact with this Mickey topiary. I thought it'd be quite cool to have like a little circle around this of these rugs, but not on this occasion, so that will remain over there for a little bit. And if we could fit in some of these... I don't want it to be too tight that I can't like run quickly and easily down to the beach. It's interesting that I can fit one on the half there. Can I fit one on the half here? I can't, so that is gonna have to go there. And I think they might, just might be a little bit bulky. So I wonder, could we have these run up to them instead? Let's test that theory. If I delete that one. Okay, I'm gonna have to be smarter about where these are placed. It's interesting that those ones go super close, but I can't actually get any closer with those ones. I guess it's because it was on a half tile, maybe? I don't even know if that really adds anything. So in the standard tradition, we're just going to reset that. But I do think maybe I need to pull these out, and then I can have those kind of on the corners, and then I'll just knock them back one or two to get as close as I possibly can. So we'll just stick with that for now, and then I can also put a little shrub or something just in this area. I just wanted to beef that little section up slightly. I do feel like this is a very long stretch of kind of like runway with not much going on there, but I will revisit that in just a little bit. But maybe we can work on Belle's cottage a bit. So we'll focus our efforts over here right now. And I'm going to move this banner out of the way. I do feel like the fountain goes quite nicely. So maybe we have the fountain off to the right-hand side. And then we could have maybe some books as kind of like the path, just weaving its way over there. Unless I just have the book. You see, I was going to say unless I have the books overhanging this path, but they don't pick up the path underneath it. They only pick up like the biome base. But I think we can place maybe some baskets right by the door. It's a shame that the mailbox gets in the way too. And I think even if you hide it, it reserves that kind of like space. Yeah, those are a little bit big for that area, so I think I might have to find somewhere else for those to live. Wonder if any of the... Where are they? I moved them. Just this kind of stuff would be a little bit cute. Maybe add in like a little trellis, maybe two. And like I said, it is really... Actually, let's do one there and one this way. Because why not? It is really the foliage that's going to make the difference for this build. So all of these little elements will eventually get tied together. And I'm trying to keep in the back of my mind what I said. I'm not gonna try not to over decorate, which is something that I'm usually prone to doing. But I realized that we don't have any seating. So let me see if I can find something that kind of matches the vibe. They're okay. I feel like the banquet chair might be a little bit too much. The Naboo sofa doesn't quite fit. I know that we've got a fire pit. I wonder if I have any of the other colors yet. No, I still only have the red. But Belle's house and foliage is red, so I'm going to keep that out right now. Because it may be that we have a nice little fire pit for those autumn nights. When else would it come in handy? Of course. But honestly, I think that's about it. And I don't want to bring in the Halloween bench yet. Doesn't feel like the right time. And it's certainly not time for a gingerbread chair, but It won't be long, my friends. It won't be long. Yeah, I'm going to keep this one out. And I'm trying to... Maybe we do this in this corner. Because we do have a little area over here. So we could have a nice little fire pit over here. I mean, we could kind of have two, I guess. Maybe if we make them into like some sort of square. I think maybe we'll bring them over a little bit. Oh, these do go underneath here though. So maybe I could place one kind of there and maybe one kind of there. It's just magical. Doesn't need to be real or functional. And then maybe we'll place some marigold basket on either side. And then we will go in and just drop a bunch of these pumpkins dotted around later on. I do kind of really like these fences. I just don't know. I don't know where would be the best. Like, does that feel as though this could be like a little library area? I don't even know if I need more than one. Although I could kind of stack them, I guess. Sort of like that. Just to make that space feel a bit more enclosed. And then I guess I could bring over a trellis or two. I just really like when seating areas kind of feel like little nooks. Unless I do just right behind each bench. I feel like it needs a little bit of a gap. That's it. It's a little bit intense just having it right behind where you sit. Kind of like that. I like how that looks. Let me replicate that just here. Then I can place one. No. I don't like the big gaps. I take it back. I take back everything I said. We're going to place them here instead. Just like that, on the very corner. Yeah, that's a little bit better. And then maybe I'll try and fit in maybe one or two trees over in that section. That works for me. I wonder, actually, I'm looking at that section now. I wonder if we give it its own path. I'm just going to use this one temporarily to see where it sits, but we could give it like its own seating area. Maybe we even tie in the main street path with this bit to bring that kind of like color scheme over, or we could do a bordered leaf strewn path. Certainly not this blue speckled one. Let's take a look. We've got this one with the border. So that makes it feel intentional, like its own little area. We also have... Actually, we have this one. That also feels intentional. I quite like how that looks, because we could maybe tie this path in like just in another area, just so it kind of like fits in a couple of different spots in the biome, which is great because that means that I can come out of this, so we save our work, of course, as we have been doing the entire time. And then I can grab some of this path. Although there's something in this spot that my decorating doesn't like. It won't let me grab any of the path. Strange. But we can bring that down. kind of like that. I don't think I'm going to eat into it in that way. Unless we come out like that. That works for me. Great. Well, at least that's that little bit done. And then we can still have the fountain kind of in the middle. And then I can have those books kind of like fanning out from either side. Kind of like that. And then maybe we even have like a little birdhouse just over here. Just at the back, you know? Cute. Okay, let's pick another section. Maybe we do a little bit of work over here, just on this honey bit. So I do think that we have the beehive boxes, which are always pretty cool. Now, this is quite close to the enchanted house, so I'm not sure whether to have them like behind, and we have path coming out this way as well. Let me take a look at that. Or we have them in front. Maybe like one here, one here. You know, kind of like that. And then I guess we could just leave this vaguely decorated. I like something like that. And then we do have the honey pots, which I've already placed a couple of. So we could kind of just dot those around as well. Could we even stick them? Yeah, we can. We can have them kind of coming over the path there. That's kind of cute. And then maybe... Actually, we just have one in the middle. Adorable. Because we've got a bunch to use anyway. That looks good. Now, I don't really know who would be into archery in this specific area or this specific biome. I guess we could place it kind of over somewhere over here. I'm happy with this pergola in this area. Although I've got the red one here too, haven't I? So, maybe I bring... No, actually, I think I want the red one. I think I want the red one like in this area. Kind of like there. So you can still get around it to get to the back. Which means we do have this little spot free now, but I guess we could just make that into, maybe kind of into like woodland or something like that. Of course, I've got all of these vine lamps to place down, but I'm really just trying to focus on... Focus. Can you imagine me? Focus? Focus on the bigger elements right now. So I guess we could have... Maybe we could bring in that and the table over here. We could have like a little outdoor food area set up, which could be cute. And I know that there are matching items for that table. So if I scroll back to last autumn, which is when I think they came out. Yeah, here we go. Autumnal chair. That's what I'm looking for. So we can just kind of place a bunch of these down, I suppose. Kind of like that. Makes it look like people have been eating. Of course, you can add whatever you like to the table if you do want to add something. And I guess maybe that is a good place to tie in that floor again. So we could bring in that main street path once more. And have that as our little kind of like through line in the meadow. I guess we can make it a little bit more decorative. We take out one of the corners each. Well, it looks like it's... Yeah. Yeah, that's cute for now. And then maybe we just bring in this as decor items, and then also this, because this is going to throw out a bunch of leaves. So I'm just actually going to pop down probably like 2 of those in this area, or maybe 3, and I'll place one over here with that. Because we do have... Well, I mean, if I use the trellis, so I'm kind of thinking like all the sections I want to use the same furniture really, if I can. Because that means they all kind of tie together. So instead of splitting it up into different aesthetics, I thought the best way to do like one big single biome is to use the same items throughout, which is why you'll see me kind of just reusing all of these pieces, even though I don't have that many down. Maybe we've got some hay that we can drop in. I think there's a leaf pile somewhere. Unless, I don't think I bought it. I think it's the Winnie the Pooh one, but I don't think I actually bought that, unfortunately. But I do have all of these rugs, which I completely forgot about. So they are going to come in handy. Let me place one here, like one here. Actually, something about placing flooring down is not making my... I can't grab this rug whatsoever under any circumstances. I can't even grab any of the floor there. Let's see if I come out of furniture mode, if that will help at all. And then go back in and see if I can grab it. No. Okay. Can I get rid of the floor and then grab? Nope. It's when I delete something, interestingly. Okay. Well, that is... That's pretty inconvenient, so I'm just going to leave that section, I guess, for now, and we will go back to maybe working on this little pumpkin area and this pumpkin section for Fairy Godmother. Now, I think that she deserves a well as well, because it kind of matches her roof. And then maybe we bring Goofy here. Well, I'm either thinking we bring Goofy in this section, or I'm thinking we bring Goofy where I've got that well and put him right next to this, which I actually think this looks quite cute. So maybe we could place the well maybe in the middle over here. And then I don't think the fairy godmother would have much need for hay. At least not on this occasion, but she will, I'm sure, want a bunch of pumpkins kind of like around the house. If we just dot those all in this area. I may need to go and purchase some more from Scrooge, depending on how many we actually use. I'm just going to make this area feel Halloween-y without being too Halloween-y. And then maybe a special Mickey one. Just a little something. Maybe one at the back too. Because we could even have an actual pumpkin patch here. Maybe we will dig one that we just have pumpkins in, and then I don't even need to harvest them, because to be honest, I don't need the cash from pumpkins, but I think maybe having an actual pumpkin patch by this house would work pretty well. Now, I don't know how much of this I have left. I have 275, so I'm going to expand this a little. Come on down into Wally's garden. Then maybe pick some more on the pathing section. And where is it? There it is. Come out this other side. And then just kind of bring it over. Down to Goofy down here. And it may be that I end up removing some of this pathing eventually, if we end up using more of these stones. Because I won't lie, seeing all of this kind of like super square pathing is not massively pleasing to my eye right now. However, when we start getting some of those rocks in place, we put on some more of the stones, we put the grasses down, all of that stuff is, as I always say, where it starts to come to life. Add one there, maybe add one here, maybe something there, take that corner off, put a gap there. There we go. That looks cute. Happy with that. So let me change this again. Let's see how it looks when we make this diagonal. I mean, actually, when it doesn't have the border, it does look much more diagonal, doesn't it? So maybe I do need to change. Maybe I do need to change all of these. And I do need to craft a little bit more to be able to do this space, but that's the only issue you run into then, is whenever you try to replace it again, it's like, nope, we're not doing that today. I'm kind of itching. I'm kind of itching to get trees in now, because I'm starting to feel like I'm running out of creativity in terms of the spaces, because it all just still looks kind of bare. And I'm looking at all the items and I'm like, I know that I'm using these, but the main focus of this is going to be trees. So I think we do have to start placing some foliage down. So because I have the Storybook Veil, I do have access to all of these foliage items. So I've got a bunch of orange ones and yellow ones. And then we do, in the base game, down here, also have a really nice Japanese maple. But then Storybook Veil also gave us some more red ones. But I do think some of these, unlike this one, some of them are only placeable in water in this section. So like the Archival Glade, that is, I believe, nope, that is not a water item. That is a gigantic landscaping item. So maybe that one's a little bit big, although maybe that could go in one of these spaces. Maybe that could go around there. I didn't think about that. I forgot that that was such a, like a huge item as well as this one. So those two I'm actually going to place down on the beach just so I can see them. Well, actually, it's just so I can see all of these. I know that these are gigantic, and I know that they're kind of also book themed, but at the end of the day, we've got Belle's house down, so I feel like that counts for something. And I'm going to place this one just up here just because that is super gigantic. So yeah, I'm actually, now I'm questioning if I can sneak those real big landscaping items in somewhere, but you can see what a difference they make. I wish we had some of these for the base game, like these single pieces that were like, I don't know, a group of foliage items, because for Switch players or players that need like a little bit more assistance, if you will, with the item limit, those are really, really handy. I'm just looking at this. This doesn't look like a very wide path. I'm going to change everything back just a second so I can expand that. I do find that easier than going and using the actual diagonal tool in sort of decorating mode. I find it easier to change it all because I know these are going to turn diagonal, so I can do it this way rather than trying to kind of like clunkily use this diagonal tool here. So that's a little tip for you, just in case you were wondering. But like I said, we've got all of these. We've got these red trees. We've got a nice maple tree. We've got another maple tree, of course. We've got yellow. The orange are probably my favorite, and I absolutely love this, like, this forked tree. I love orange, and orange is, like, one of my favorite colors. So dotting these about, the ones with the smaller footprints, at least, is a real nice way of bringing those autumn vibes in. So we can have a little shrub just kind of like maybe on the corner there, like that. And then maybe we can bring in maybe one of the bigger red ones. I don't know how much that takes up. Can I sneak that in? That one's a little bit wonky. I know that the red one from the base game does have a version where it's only a single tile. There we go, that one. So I was thinking maybe we bring like that one right in the corner. I guess we could move that and have another, if it wants to work, have another red one kind of like over here somewhere. This is what I mean. The canopies start taking up a lot of space. But I also don't just want to be doing red and orange. I think it's really good to bring in some of the kind of like green versions as well. So I don't know which version of the maple I prefer. The simple maple or the tall maple. I think for this build, I like the colors of the simple maple a little bit better because they feel like they're kind of like on the turn, you know, without actually being super autumnal or ready to fall off the branch. So I'm going to put the taller one. Right at the back, and then this forked tree a little bit in front of it so we can actually see it. Cute. I like how that looks. And really, it's just a case of bringing all of those trees in. I think what I'll do is maybe I'll make a little Where have we got some space? Just so I don't have to keep going to the menu, I might just make a little mood board area of the foliage that I would like to use. So we've got these little ones, these little bushes, we've got the little shrubs. What else have we got? We've got trees. I would take these in every color. Like, honestly, base game ones, shape-wise, I would take in every color. I would take these in every color. I wish we had lilac. I wish we had... well, that's pretty much it, right? Maybe some different shades of green. I would happily... You know, this kind of lilac, I would happily take that. And I do believe they are on the floating islands. What else have we got? We've got this maple tree, which is kind of wonky. We've got a birch tree, which for some reason the branches on this one, the double one, stick out in kind of a strange way. But at least they look okay on the silver birch. And then we've also got some orange ones with pages in. But I also really love these ones. I love these trees because they're so full and they've got really interesting shapes. They kind of they kind of remind me of bonsai trees. And then I'll pop just a few of those down as well. Maybe we bring in some of the other birches. Although this birch also has those funny branches, but we've got two other sizes to work with, which is great. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to bring over one of the red ones. Place that kind of like maybe around here somewhere. Because Belle's house has already got a lot of red in it. Maybe we could even have another big red one behind the house. And then I'm thinking maybe we could match that up if we have the footprint. I'm not sure if we will. Maybe I'll have to use this one in slightly different tone with a more orange one. And then we could drop in some of the other maples. I think that was the simple one, right? Was. I don't know if we have more than one shape of these. I think it's just the... Oh no, we do have a bigger shape. There we go. So maybe I put one of those maybe around by there. I can bring this out. You see, the trees just... I just feel like the trees make such a difference. I just feel like they make it feel much more alive. And then you don't have to worry about looking at everything and feeling like it's bare. Because it's not. You just need some foliage. I'm actually going to bring this one out of that canopy. No, maybe I'm going to swap that one maybe for a slightly fuller one. Maybe like this. If not, actually no, we'll go with the one with the pages. I know it's got a slightly bigger footprint, but we could always move this over. And then just knock those over a touch. Something kind of like that. Maybe move that under there. That looks cute. I like how that's coming together. And I wonder if we do maybe like one of these. Don't know if this is going to fit, but I was thinking maybe we could have that coming out like over this fountain. But I feel like that leaf might be a bit too dark. The vibe. So I wonder if maybe we use a silver birch instead in that little gap. Just like that. Somewhere around there. Yeah, and that already feels a lot better. What I also have a habit of doing is I have a habit of putting all my foliage like on the edge, so it leaves the middle still kind of, I don't know, still kind of bare. So I'm trying to get better at placing trees in places I wouldn't normally place them, like, you know, right in the middle, just like that. But that is a work in progress, so we'll try and we'll try and do a little bit more of that if we can. But that's where I then struggle, because what if I want to put some path in here, you know? Then I start catching myself out. So it is what it is. I like this section. This probably is on its way to almost being finished. So what I might do is I might just start putting some of these around. Kind of like this. Just to make it feel... Unless I put those actually on the path instead of just creeping over it. Maybe kind of do something like this. These ones, because they have this like sticking out bit, they can be a little difficult to actually decorate with sometimes. Because it's something my eye picks up the pattern, which always bugs me. I wish I didn't pick up patterns so easily. Actually, I prefer how we I prefer we had it before. I wish I didn't pick up patterns quite so easily, but unfortunately that is partially the reason why I'm a designer, is for picking up stuff like that. But that looks cute. I like that. And I wonder if we do any paths with those stones that are not kind of like directly on a path. I was just thinking around the back here, because I know we've got the rock rug and those sorts of things, but I don't think they'd quite fit the vibe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change all of this, because I did craft enough of that now. And I like how that looks. So I think we might change the shape of that to something like that. Perfect. And I'm looking at this gap and thinking, do I need something there? But I don't think I need to fill in every single bit of available space. That's just me saying I want to, but I don't have to. So I think if we do some base bits on the ground, maybe with some of the grasses, see where we can fit these grasses around Fairy Godmother's house, because that will kind of determine where we can fit the trees too. I'm going to try and get this as close as I possibly can. Maybe have one here, one out here, maybe even one out the back. And then we can just actually... I love these grasses. I can't undersell how much I think they're really handy for decorating. I just really wish that we could kind of overlap them. That's cute. Maybe we can fit another one, if we can, in just about there, and then maybe one down there. I would really love to fit one in this space, but there was just not enough room. I think that'll do. I think looking at it from ground level helps. You can kind of see where that texture starts to come in. And I wonder if we pop any... Oh, we do have an autumn leaf pile. I thought that this was the Pooh Bear one, but it's not. This is just in the landscaping menu. So I can grab a couple of these, and we can put these down as well. Because these are just really cute. I mean, we're making an autumnal plaza. Oh, actually, I should say Peaceful Meadow, right? What better than just having a bunch of autumnal leaves? Kind of like that. Okay, coming back to Fairy Godmother's little section. I think maybe if we have a shrub. Maybe like some of the cute little shrubs around her house. These orange sort of ones. One fits in there. I don't think we have any small green shrubs, which is a shame. Well, we have these, which actually are also useful, so I won't be disparaging about them. So they do offer us a different color, which is exactly what I was looking for at the end of the day. So we can just pop a couple of those down because they can go slightly over the path, which is great. Maybe I don't have the orange one super close to the house then, and maybe we put... Was that a smaller footprint? It is. Look, that's a smaller footprint than this one. I don't know why this has such a gigantic footprint. It feels kind of unnecessary for it to be... What is it? 6 by 6 for a little shrub? I was just thinking of maybe having something in there that was not orange, but maybe the yellow one... Maybe the yellow one might fit. No, I don't like that. Maybe the marigold basket. No, that's also too big. We're really going through it, right? I just want something... Okay. I move Goofy stall. No, I like where Goofy stall is. Maybe I'll just go with the orange one then. The life and times of Oscar. All right, that'll do. That'll do. Although we could use the vines. Maybe we could place these somewhere. Maybe over here, just kind of like reaching over that bit of path. I don't want it to come too far over the path. That could work. And maybe another one. Maybe if we move this grass out, we could have one right by the house entrance. Well, that feels a little bit close and a little bit intimidating, so I'm going to place it back there slightly. Yeah, that's good. Cool, and then maybe we have one on this side. Yeah, I like that. I'm good with that. Now, I know there's a gap here. I wonder if... What did I say earlier that I was going to put there? Maybe we could put a shrub there, of course. We've got these orange ones. That would work. Maybe one like this. Oh, well, that's got a big footprint, so I'm going to have to move that grass. Okay, it wants to fight with this. But I think if we move that in the right direction... I can squeeze it in. Not quite as close as I wanted it. Just sheerly because of the size of the footprint. This one does have a smaller footprint, so maybe that would work. Or maybe we just go with a standard. I'm going to try this one. I'll move that over here for now. Because you can kind of have the tree really whichever way you want, but I have it kind of like, well... I was thinking, could I have two? I could have a little version. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. All right, there we go. That works. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Oops. Actually, I don't think I need that. Cool. This is also really starting to take shape. I don't really think over this side for Fairy Godmother there's much else that I want to place down on the floor. Maybe she can have the bluebird box because that kind of matches her roof. Maybe if we move the Mickey one. Okay, I keep getting rid of that bit. Keep getting rid of that bit of grass, but maybe if we have the Mickey one. I'm looking at that window and I was like, okay, well, there could be birds like outside the window. And then I guess we could just place the Mickey one a little bit further out. Cool. I mean, I'm going to be able to run through that gap anyway, but then maybe she could have like this bit trellised off so people don't come straight down the stairs and kind of like walk directly into her garden, you know? Do I have 2 before I hit that? I can. There we go. That looks good. I'm happy with that. I don't think I can get that any closer. I can get it 1 closer. And we might even be able to sneak. If I get rid of this one, we might be able to sneak some trees into that little area just there. I'm thinking, what if we grab... Maybe we grab this one. I know this is a little bit taller, but it should fit in that section. Yeah, there we go. That looks good. I like how that is looking, and then maybe we could even bring in one of the little ones to accompany it. And then I wonder if we could grab a nice big tall tree to go behind the house. Just looking at that mining node to see whether I can still access that. I think I should be able to. I'm just going to save that because we've done quite a lot. So I'm hoping that it does save everything we've done. I tend to go back to the last thing that I did to see if it actually saved. You can see it's having a little bit of a stressful time. So fingers crossed it did. And usually when I come out of save, just like that, it starts raining. So let's do a bit of rainy decorating. But I think maybe if I drop one of... I'm going to drop a little shrub in there too. Because why not? No, I'm not. I want something else in there. What do I want? Do any of these fit the bill? What about you? The yellow feels a little bit pale for this now, right? But I guess if I bring in some more yellow in various places, it might feel a little bit better. Put that maybe there, just for now. I don't like the yellow. It's a no. Which means I probably don't need any of these yellow ones if I'm not loving them. Because honestly, I do kind of just want to use the... Okay, I'm duplicating instead of deleting. No! I do just kind of want to use the orange and the red with some green. So don't be mad. I do feel like this needs another tree. Well, I guess if I put that one there, and what if I move this? If I move that grass out, I can have this kind of like much further behind the house. Yeah. Like that, which means I can actually shimmy that across a little bit. And I can fit that in there. And then I think I might be able to fit. Maybe. No, I can't, but that's okay. I can't fit another grass in, but... Well... No, I think it's one... I think it's like one... No, it's 2 tiles out. Okay. I will accept that for what it is. And I think I'm going to bring in just a couple of little trees over here. Maybe the split one. Where's my forked one? I already placed that down so it's not up there anymore. Let's pop that down again quickly just so I have nice, easy access to it. Where is it gone? Forked tree. This one has a slightly larger canopy. Yeah, just like that. Excellent. That looks good. That looks good. And what if maybe we put one of the maples in by here? Unless we do, should I do one of the really big maples? Can I even fit that in? It's a big space. I can. Okay. I'm going to go with that for now because at ground level, I really want it to feel immersive. And I feel like the taller trees you have, the better and the more effective that is. Like, we could place a red one there too. Well, that maybe feels a little bit too much. Like, maybe it needs to be... Maybe it needs to be kind of one like this. Because that does fit in that spot too. We'll decide if the books are suitable shortly. Okay, I think that section is pretty much done. So let's move on to another bit. I know that we haven't even really started on this side just yet. We've done a few little bits and I found a few more things in my inventory, but I do feel like this bit is coming together. So I want to try and get this right-hand side finished up first, and then we can go on to the left-hand side. But I did find this nice little rocking chair over here in my inventory. So I thought if we put this kind of like right next to the pond, I thought that would be adorable. So we could have like two of those kind of just off the waterfront, maybe like underneath the tree. I think that's cute. We could have some little flowers dotted around the path too. Maybe a little flower box as well. Something like that. Actually, we'll rotate it. No, we'll rotate it how it was. So I think that they're cute. And then there's also this like jute rug. I don't even know what this is. I don't even know where I managed to find this from, but it was in my inventory. And I guess they could have the seats on the rug next to the pond. Although I don't think Beast would fit in one of those chairs, but Belle might. Although I don't know if I like the rug underneath it. I feel like they look kind of cute by themselves. You know, sort of like that instead. And we just place the flower pot, I don't know, maybe around there. And then I could have these creeping up the pathway to get to the seats. Something just like that. I think that's kind of cute. Although maybe I don't need one on either side of the seat. Maybe we just have them going to the backs. And I also placed this little archway, which is also from Storybook Vale, just kind of at the entrance to this area. Now I do think that I keep forgetting I can't do that. I was going to say I do think I need this to go underneath here, but that is impossible because they are both paths. But I suppose we could maybe have No, the borders of the pathing kind of have a little bug at the moment where they cut through stuff, but that's okay. We'll find another home for this jute rug somewhere. But I think maybe if I leave the leaves there... Do I even fit some more leaves in? Do we have the space to fit them behind here? I don't think that we do. I don't even think I've got the space. I do have the space to fit them off to the side, though, so... We could do something like that. And then maybe in this space, I'm thinking just like a really big tree. Now, I know this one takes up a lot of footprint. Can we fit it in? I saw it flash for just a split second there. So what is in its way if I come closer? Nothing, so I can push it. I can push it slightly further up. What I would really like is for it to be angled. Kind of like that, but I don't think that's possible, so... I will accept that. Actually, maybe if we have it just coming on the path. Just so the roots kind of look like they're coming out. I think that looks fun. And then maybe we place... Maybe we need a green tree to balance this out. We can sneak one of those in behind it. We can. I was worried that it wouldn't fit, but it seems to be okay. So it's in that tile only. That looks good. Maybe we bring another orange tree in, this time with the books in it. Again, so those roots kind of look like they're coming out of the path. Pretty. Drop in one of these, maybe? Move these little pumpkins out of the way. Let's move them over there for now. We could have that one. Actually, we could have that one a little closer to the water, just so... See, again, I'm trying that the triangle shape. Not including that one, because otherwise it's a square. But the triangle shape makes it feel a bit more intentional, but also a little bit more wild, if that is even possible. And then we can bring in some of the smaller trees to kind of pad that section out. I don't love these red shrubs, only because the texture on them isn't the prettiest. It's not a proper leaf texture. For some reason, it's got kind of an odd texture to it, so I might even just swap those out for some of the regular shrubs that we do have from the base game. Peaceful Meadow flower bush. Although I'm kind of conflicted on using the flower bushes, because if we're going into autumn, do I want them to be like springtime? But I guess they make everything kind of fit together, right? I'm going to place one of those there, and actually I'm going to place one on this other side too. Like there. Maybe I'll just substitute them for the actual shrubs. I'll leave one out for now, just in case I want to revisit it, because I know that these shrubs are not the biggest, although I think I chose the small version. That's the dwarf birch. That one's slightly bigger. Again, I wish these could clip into each other. Foliage work would be so much nicer if we could clip pieces of foliage into each other. I'm just going to see if there's some spaces where I can fit these in. Oh, there's one right on the side of it. But now I'm having to get like a little bit in the weeds because I've placed those trees down with the canopies, which is what I was trying to avoid. at the beginning, but you know, when you need to move on to something and your mind is telling you you have to, sometimes you just have to listen. I don't know what I'm going to do with the bike yet. I don't even know why I've got that out, but we'll leave that. They feel good. And I haven't actually put any grass down yet, so that is actually a big red flag on my part. I need to get some of that grass down to see where it will fit. Because I do want some in this area as well, even if it's not as many pieces as we had over by Fairy Godmother's house. It is kind of strange to me that the shrubs can kind of like break into the path, but for some reason this grass can't. I guess I'll just go ahead now because this ends up being such a blocker for things. If I can just fit it, in right now, at least I can place everything else around it afterwards, or delete them if I need to. But I guess it's better to have more than to have too little. I don't think I'm going to be able to fit one in there, but I guess, well, maybe we will have enough space. No, I don't think I can grab that stick. Move that out of the way. The decorating mode really hates this kind of like cliff face. It struggles a lot with it, but there we go. Managed to get one in. But I do not think that I can fit one the other side. Well, I'm just one off. Right? No. Look at me making all of these accommodations just for a piece of grass. Actually, no. I think a shrub will be better in here anyway. So at least I know I can fit a shrub in. Maybe one there. And a slightly bigger one on this side. And then the slightly bigger one snuck in that spot. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Maybe we could even have one of these out the back. No, that doesn't work. Okay, this is looking pretty good. You can see how awkwardly I'm having to move the camera around now because of these trees. So take my own advice, which I did not take, and get your ground area done first. I do think I want to bring in... Actually, if I bring over some of these for now, we'll just kind of dot these around. I need to pick that. I think it's basil down here. Because it is getting in the way slightly. Actually, I wonder if I sacrifice that one to have one on this side. Like that. Can I sneak another one in there? Can we pop that in? We can. There we go. All right, that is looking good. Now, the other thing that I'm thinking is maybe some of the small rocks. Actually, I always forget we have these big rocks as well. So if I'm ever worried about needing to kind of like fill a space in, I can always use a big rock like that. So I'm going to actually keep that out. So I may end up putting that in like this area. The ones I was looking for are these ones, these little mossy ones. Now, I just think these are really impactful for like dotting around the edge of your path. Especially if you're trying to like lean into that wilder aesthetic. Because they make it look a lot more natural. And you don't even have to have them on the path. I mean, you can really dot them wherever you want, but you know, I just think it adds a nice little breakup. And these are great because they can pretty much go under anything, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep dotting these around. And these are great because they can fit in spaces where you typically might not usually have space to fit something else. And even having like one, like even just in that space, even just having one breaks it up to the eye and makes the substrate of the ground not feel completely the same. That's why I'm such a big fan of them. Maybe we have one, maybe just out the back, kind of like there. But I am the same with the other ones. Now, these other ones don't have moss on them, I believe. Where are they? Peaceful Meadow. So they don't have the moss on them, and they do look like quite a different color to the Oasis ones that we are putting down. But I did think that they could go into the beach grass, because that's what I've done down here. So are these ones able to go into the beach grass? No. How strange. So you can actually have those overlapping on the beach, but then if you move the beach grass up into the meadow, you can no longer have the rocks overlap them. Good to know, because I was planning on having a bunch of those like little rocks everywhere. I mean, we can still place them in any gaps we might have. So like if I move this little guy over, we have a little cluster just in there. That still works, which is fine. And then maybe we can find some other homes for some of these clusters. Again, it's just all about the texture. I don't know what this little sack is doing here. Maybe we'll move that. Maybe we'll move that for now. I don't know what the purpose of that could be. Why did I leave that out? Let's move it over here. I'm just looking at any of these little bits, whether they would work. Even just as kind of like junk. I say junk. Decoration. That's what I actually mean. That's a bit too close to the path. Unless I pop this over here. Okay, that's definitely like on its way to coming together. I do think that maybe it needs like a super tall tree. Although that's going to block all of the light inside Belle's house. So I'm sorry, Belle. I take that back. I take that tree back. I was just looking at this bit. I was like, does this section, like this bit, need a really tall tree? But I'm not going to be able to fit it in the corner where that red one is. So unless I sacrifice that one and place this in here instead. That does not want to play ball with me. What I wanted was the orange tree kind of in the gap of it. to rotate it, I think, like 4 times. I think that's going to be my best bet for that one. I think that height is a little bit better. I'll get rid of that one for now. I think maybe we just place... Maybe we just place stuff. Kind of like down here in front of Belle's house. I know that I've got those forked trees that I love so much over here. Although I do already have one there. Kind of like that. Maybe bring in some more of those. What did I say? There was something I placed down here, right? Oh yeah, this big stone. I think maybe I'll place that kind of like here. In that section. Which means I'll probably have to get rid of a handful of this grass. Actually, I might need to get rid of it all. We can just do something like that. Yeah, if I have it a bit closer to the pond, it looks kind of like the one we already have here. And then I could always just pull in the other big one to like extend that out. Maybe have a little cluster here and here because we can run over those anyway. And then where's my little single ones? Just here. I did come out of save mode and it did not save my changes, so I'm going to go ahead and make those again. I'm thinking maybe we have this a little bit closer to the water's edge, and then I can kind of go into this menu and pick out this bigger rock. Just kind of have that involved, maybe some of these smaller ones dotted about. And then I can also grab the single rocks and we can kind of just tie that all together. And then we'll see if there's any more room for grass. There is one little spot that I can fit the grass in, which is perfect. But if I move that across, and that one across, I may... No. I was going to say, I may be able to sneak one in. Just up there, which I can. That is perfect. And we'll do that. Great. I like that. Happy with that. Maybe we can bring some of the pumpkins over towards Belle's as well, just to kind of tie in that autumnal vision that we have. Autumnal vision? That sounds like a play on tunnel vision, but at least it just brings a few of those elements together. So I'm just going to place just a handful of them down in various places. Maybe another one towards the entrance, kind of at the back, maybe out there. And then where's that Mickey one? I would like to place the Mickey one somewhere, because I do love this. I do love this Mickey pumpkin. And we of course have the tall one as well, if I can grab that. Just pop that. It is really storming in my valley. It said, no sunshine for you. Storms only. Yeah, we'll do... maybe... no. Maybe at the front. Can I sneak one in here somewhere? Yeah, kind of like that. And then I'll just grab a few more shrubs because we don't really have many shrubs around this side of the build. I'm going to put one behind. Maybe one. I'm going to move that. One in there. One there. And then I can grab the lighter one, which is the same footprint, just slightly smaller. I always like to kind of like put those close together because I feel like that's how it would be, you know, that's how it would be in nature, I guess. Not everything in nature is going to be perfectly spaced out all of the time. So I find that when you merge stuff kind of like as close as you can get it and kind of like group them, it does make it feel a little bit more natural. But I think I'm just looking at all of this now, and I think we may be nearing the finish line on this right-hand side, which is which is not bad for 2.5 hours, right? It's something like that. I'm just taking a look around, but I think unless I want to place some more of these stones down just to kind of like give the ground some texture, I think I might be done on this side, but let me place some of these down and then we'll decide. Maybe there. Can we fit one just in this gap? We can. Thinking maybe I've got like a half barrel somewhere as well. And then, I mean, there's a lot of stuff over here, so maybe the tools could go over this side. I mean, we can have more than one set of tools, but maybe I'll just tuck them slightly behind the trellis. The tool storage. And then I think we just need a couple more big trees. I'm going to come out of furniture mode to see if we can get the rain to stop, because it's a pretty intense storm. Is it stopping? It is, thank goodness. It always looks much better when it is not absolutely torrential rain, especially when the game gets a little later in the day and those colors really start to pop. I wonder if I could fit this big stone in anywhere. Well, it fit by there. Is there anywhere else? Or do we think I should leave it? Maybe... No? Can you go across? Maybe I could pop it in somewhere in there. Still not happy? What if I rotate you? Everything has like a single knock-on effect. Oh, it does fit. Cool. Yeah, these slightly bigger stones, obviously they have a larger footprint, but they've got a little bit of height to them as well, which always helps when stuff is on ground level. Make it feel... I mean, I'll just place one. I'll just place one behind, even though you can't see that. Look at these colors. Everything looks great in these colors. I'm really loving how this has all come together. I don't have any of these little rocks on the path down here yet, so let's just flesh out... Let's just flesh out this little area. Add some of these stones in. Cool. I wonder if we bring any of these vines over the bell side or whether we use a different kind of light over here. Let me take a quick look in my lighting menu. Let's see if we've got anything. I mean, these ancient lampposts might feel like a little bit too ancient. I do feel like we need some more lighting options because there's really not that many outdoor ones. I mean, we have like kind of the basic starter ones, which I guess could work. Just looking. I don't really want anything that's like metal. That feels a little bit out of place. I don't want that one because I mean, it does kind of fit, but it's got the bugs on it. It feels slightly more tropical. So I think maybe I'm just going to use the base ones. Which I didn't think I'd ever use these again, really, but I'm just going to dot them around. Or do I prefer the Ancient Landing ones? Maybe I do. I think I do. I'm going to go with those ones. They've just got a little bit more of an interesting... I don't know, more of an interesting look to them. Drop that in. Actually, I don't like it on the corner. Maybe we place one in that gap there. Could I fit one in over here anywhere? I can fit one there. I think I'm about to run out, so I might need to craft some more. Although, I think that might just be enough. Yeah, that looks cute. Belle doesn't need an extra one. Perfect. And then I'm just gonna drop in, if I can fit any, some bigger trees. Just to make it feel all a little bit more compact. And a little bit more undercover. I'm gonna grab another green one. I'm gonna place that maybe... If I can fit it, I would like it there, but I don't think I can fit it. So maybe I'll go with where's the red one that's a single tile? That's you. Maybe you can go in kind of like there. Oh yeah, that feels better. Having the trees around the water is a really nice touch. So I grab this forked one over here. Maybe we can find a home. I don't want it right in front of the window. Okay. Unless I bring in... Where's the maple? I don't think... Oh, I've used that once behind the house, but I don't think I've used it again. Actually, it would be great in that spot. I'm going to move that, and I'm going to have it... Where did that fit? I definitely just had that happy and fitting. So where are you? Maybe there? Is that going to be a bit of a blocker for me running down? Especially with that other rock in the way. This one. So maybe I get rid of that and I just bring this over here. Yeah, that works. And I wonder if there's just one more home. that we could find for this one anywhere. Although maybe I don't need it. Maybe we've got enough on this side. I fear that we do. Right, let me come out of furniture mode and we'll give that a save. I'm not going to give us a tour just yet, but I think that looks pretty good. Just from what I'm seeing. The only thing that I see sometimes is like when I look down here and I see a big gap there, a lot of the tall trees, their canopies only start at the kind of like the very top. So it's much harder to fill in the lower parts. Like this is a good one for filling in the lower parts, but it does have quite a big footprint to it. So if I go to put that in, oh, we can fit this one in. But you know, I didn't use that earlier because I felt like the leaf was too dark. So am I going back on what I said? Possibly, but is that always a bad thing? No. So maybe I can fit this one with the cool arms that I really like somewhere else. I'm thinking kind of here. So maybe in place of that shrub, which means I need to place this somewhere that I can grab it again. And then I get rid of that shrub. Look how difficult I've made my life by... Can you fit in? You can. There we go. I like that. How difficult I've made my life by already doing the trees as kind of the first part. Great, we have half a completed biome. Oh, I know what I forgot. Where is it? These mushrooms. I feel like these are autumnal and these are a single tile. So we can also dot these mushrooms around everywhere. And they feel really whimsical. I'm not going to overdo it because I don't want too many. I don't want it to feel like there's a kind of like a fungal problem, but I think a couple just here and there, especially because they light up, could work really nice. Maybe one at the back, kind of like there. Maybe one just in that gap. That gap. And then I'll pop one over there as well. All right, great. I think that'll do for mushies for now. So if that if that part of the biome took us this long to do, how long do we think that this side is going to take? I don't know. I think I'm like 2 hours in. No, 3 hours in. And we've technically done less than half. The first thing that I am going to do over this side is not take the aforementioned advice, and I'm going to find where I can place this big gigantic landscaping piece if I can actually see because of because of the rain. Let me cut a hole kind of like that. As much as I really do like this section. Okay. As much as I really like this section, I need to get a sense of what space this needs. But I already missed my path. So I'm not sure whether to undo that and keep it. Or whether to, is there a slightly smaller one? I feel like this might be slightly smaller. Yeah, that looks smaller, so that might actually fit. Okay, that one does. However, it's not the really big, like, tall landscaping. sort of vibe that I wanted, so I'm going to commit. Maybe we'll just get rid of this part so it's not as much. And then if I change the sides back, then I should be able to remove it all. There we go. That dig spot might be in the way. Is that the only thing stopping me from placing it down? I think that it might be. I'm going to have to go and dig that up. I swear when I do decorating videos or I record anything for decorating, it rains about 5 times as much in my valley. I should really assign Max, so at least he could clear these bits up for me. But I think now we should be able to fit that in. Yes, okay. Now it's just deciding which way we want to have it, because I don't necessarily need to be, you know, like looking at the books as such. If I have it diagonal, that takes up a lot of space. I wish that I could fit it in the corner a little bit more. Although I'm looking at this, and do I potentially move this one over here? Rotate that a little bit more, have that one tucked in this section. That maybe they feel a little bit close together, and then I could possibly put this big one in the middle here, but I don't think that's right for us. I just don't think it's right for us. So where shall we put you? I think maybe that is the ultimate place for it. Right there. And I do think I'll turn it around so we can see the books, because reading is important, and I do not do enough of it. Yeah, we can do that, and then the path can kind of go through that section. So I think that works for me for this bit. And then I could always bring this up if I needed to and have it in this area. I'm going to move the well for now. Still don't know where to put that well, where it truly fits. And I do have all of these little bits and bobs, but let's erase our hard work from from earlier. Let's grab this. Let's pop this in as well. And then I'll just drop that in. Drop that in by there. That works for me, and then we can have this kind of setup again. And I can place the rugs down. I don't know if I want the... Maybe I want the red ones here. I search leaf. I search leaf, I think that it will come up. And I know that I do have a red one for certain. Maybe one there. One there. I mean, I guess not to go back over to this completed section, but I should bear in mind that we could maybe put a rug or two down around here too. Although I've finished this area, so I shouldn't go back and edit, otherwise we'll be working on it forever and ever. No, because that's going to catch... Well, no. Maybe a different color later. Stop it. That was to me, not you. And then I thought I kept one of the seats out, but I do not appear to have. We are in some sort of tree. Oh, look, I've got a little scarecrow. So we'll just pop these seats down again. Kind of like this. I like how that looks. And then I'm going to grab that path thing that we used. So the Main Street path. And I'm going to bring that down probably here. And then we'll just fill that little space in. Which would, of course, be easier if we had a fill all button. And I believe that lines up okay. I'm going to take a chunk out of each corner, though. So why not? Okay, cool. Have some fall leaves just dotted about the place. Still not sure what could go under this pergola. I think we do have a picnic set, but I don't know if it's quite the style, and I'm not sure what can go underneath it. Oh, it can go underneath it. That does look cute. Well, we've got that one and we've got this one. No, I think I prefer the red one. I know that's a bit more summery, like with the gingham. But that's kind of cute. I like that. And then I don't know what I thought that I was going to be using this stall for. You could maybe have maybe we could have a fire pit going somewhere too. TBD. But layout wise, I like those items. I worked out that it's actually this that is causing the selection issues for me. So I don't know if it's trying to grab the leaves in the air or something, but that was giving me those issues earlier. But I do really like these because they throw out so many leaves. So I'm gonna put them around still. I mean, you can kind of put them right next to these piles because that's what they're trying to scoop up at the end of the day. Cool. And I'm going to bring in maybe 1 or 2 more stacks of hay. No, I'm not. I don't like that. But I do think some barrels kind of add the vibe, as well as the crates. So I do have those crates as well. Although I seem to run out, so I might need to craft a couple more. But I don't know, they just give autumn. I don't know what it is about crates and barrels and all sorts of stuff, but they just feel very autumnal to me. That looks good. I like the picnic under the pergola. Not sure on that fire pit placement yet. I think we can get rid of the stall. I think we can safely get rid of that. I'm going to save this banner just up here for now, just in case I want to place it somewhere else. But I do think that this section can be mostly trees. Maybe even all of this can be trees. We've got our little honey station and stuff like that down here. I do really, really love this table. I think this was from the Garden of Whimsy Star Path. I love how it looks, with kind of like the spider webs coming off of it. And then we do have that little rug, so that kind of fits too. This decorative shell or decorative horn from the Bug's Life bundle that we got recently also kind of fits with this enchanted house. And then I was kind of thinking maybe I just... Like, I don't know if this fits, but I could separate this specific house off by itself using these hedges. I know that we've got the... I don't know where... That's the thing. I just don't know where I would put the hedge. So if maybe I could just have two pieces because, you know, you don't need... I don't like the way it curves. You don't need too much. And the other thing that I found in my inventory was this. Now, does it completely give autumn? No. Does it match the color scheme? Yes. So maybe I could just have this as like a little... I don't even know what I would have it as. Just a focal point or something. Because I am going to need... Actually, I am going to need something for this space. Because my crafting table's in the way. And this is just leftover stuff. So I do have like a couple of bits and bobs and spaces that I can work with still. We have a crate. Maybe over here. No. Maybe there. And then I'm just looking at this path and I need to try and connect these two back up. So I'm going to move that out of the way for now. I'm going to go into pathing. And then I'm going to find just a basic one that I can use to get the idea of where this needs to be. Like that. And maybe one more there. Two there. And I can come out there. And then we'll turn it all diagonal afterwards. So we change the shape. And then I believe if we replace that... Actually, no, if we change the shape back and then replace it, then we should be able to change all of them. There we go. That worked. Cool. I like how this is coming together. I'm just going to extend that bit out. I did bring in these mossy fences just out of my inventory as well. Like, I can't decide if I prefer the mossy one against this building or the topiaries, and I think I prefer the topiaries, so I'll stick with those for now. I'm going to move this cart. I actually think I can get rid of this cart. Then maybe we just... I probably should have put in my pieces up here, you know? So I have them out of the way. That would have been smarter. It would have been very smart to do at the start. It would have been smart to do an hour in. Now it feels like I can't claim it smart. Now it feels like too much time has passed. There we go. Move that one out just in case. I think I can take that up there as well as that. The sack. And then these two chairs. Although, I think having the rocking chairs by the table in this area is cute. Again, there's just something about a rocking chair that feels really nice. And I'm going to move this one again out of the way. Well, I do have this little scarecrow that we could use. Maybe there? Cool, I think I'm pretty happy with all of that. I'm just... Yeah, maybe that is the best spot for it. And then we could put the archery... I mean, you don't want to be seeing an archery set as soon as you walk in, right? I feel like the archery set needs to kind of go out into the background a little bit. Maybe just next to that tree. Although this path is looking particularly thin. If I just do that a couple times. Does that help? And maybe all right, that does help a little bit. Yeah, great. Okay. I'm going to move the scarecrow back just a smidge. And then I guess I could have that coming off the path right there. Although I'm hitting the house, so I'm going to have to come back a tile. And then maybe we just go as far as the pond. And then if I bring the corner piece in, where is it? There it is. And then I think that there should be a small enough piece, yeah, for me to sneak in. Unless we just... I was going to say, unless I finish that off with a tree. But I'll leave it like that. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. I'm just kind of thinking of this bit here, like, should that have a curved piece on it? Yeah, I'm going to get rid of that one, and then we might put a tree in here instead. Because I just want it to act like a little bit of a screen. It doesn't need to even be kind of attached to anything. I just like using these topiaries as kind of screens sometimes. Because I think even single pieces, like not that we have much space over here, but just as an example, like if you bring one of these in... No, I don't have any space to... I don't have any space to give you an example, but I'm sure you get the gist. I mean, you could even place them like, kind of like that. Just dotted about. Do I like that? I am undecided. But I'm gonna try it, because why not? I mean, they had a bit of life. Okay, I'm gonna leave those for now as maybes. I think structure-wise, that might be about it for this side. Still not entirely sure where to put my well. Maybe that needs to go where the fire pit is. Kind of here? Although that's not really working for me. I just don't think it really fits with that house. No, it doesn't. I don't like that there. But equally, I don't like it there. But I guess I could... I wonder if I could sneak it into that spot instead. even changing it to the default one doesn't really help because none of these, I mean, this one, not really. That's not autumnal, is it? Who am I kidding? Yeah, I'll just put it in this spot for now. But let the record show, as of this moment, I do not love that. I like the flames on this fire pit, and I think it's quite cool, so I feel like I need to have it somewhere. So maybe I'll just put it in the background for now. See, when I fiddle with something as much as I am with this, that's because I don't love it. But what if it's the path? Maybe it's the path that's getting in my way. It's kind of bugging me. Something maybe like this. Just so there's a bit more of a circle around it. I'll need to extend that out. All right, let's try that. All right, that feels better. I just wanted to make sure that there was like enough breathing space around it. Cool. We'll go with that. I am going to grab some of these again. Oh, I've only got 8 left. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of this. I'm going to save, go to Scrooge, grab a bunch more of these and anything else that I think I need. And we will carry on with the little bits. So it did stop raining and all of those colors really starting to pop again. So right now I'm just going to go around this whole path and kind of place down a bunch of these stepping stone-esque type things. I do love them because they can go under most furniture and stuff like that, so super handy. Can go under buildings as well, even better. We need one on the corner. And then I guess we just, like we did on the other side, just dot them about everywhere. Okay, do I just only put them on the edges? That's kind of what I was doing, right? So we'll just stick with that then. Might need to sneak them just on this side. Couple there. Maybe one on the edge. Won't put them under the picnic blanket, but we'll just have them running alongside. Cool. I think stepping stone wise, that looks good. I still have noticed that I literally have nothing along this back bit by here, so I will come up with, maybe I'll come up with something. Maybe I'll just, I don't know. I feel like the rest of this looks so good and works really well together that I don't just want to miss this out, but I keep leaving it and then nothing happens. But maybe we can just make a little woodland area that doesn't have a path through it. I'm going to grab one here and just pop that right there. Little scarecrow. I do actually have a more autumnal scarecrow, I believe. Yeah, I do have a playful scarecrow, which I like this little one as well. But I also like the one with the actual pumpkin on it. So we'll just swap them out. There we go. And then I think if we maybe continue with rock work and just stuff on ground level before I bring in more of the grasses and the foliage. My brain honestly sounds like it's not braining. I feel it. I feel it. Maybe it's because I've been doing this for so long. But I hope you're enjoying it regardless. If you are and you've made it this far, feel free to like the video. Although, if you've made it this far and you don't love it, what are you still doing here, bestie? This bit doesn't quite feel right for me yet. I will be honest. It doesn't feel... I don't know, it doesn't feel like fancy enough to be a dinner section. Like, I don't know if it needs... I don't know if it needs a fence around it, perhaps. I'm just looking at it right now and I'm thinking, that doesn't quite feel the way that I thought it would. What if I just do, like, maybe a little fence on this side, a little fence going across the back? That's a little bit better, and then we might be able to fit some sort of shrub or something in there. I don't know, it felt like it was floating a little bit, you know? Just grab a few more of these little rocks and just place those around. And then I think I'm going to try the grasses. See where we can actually sneak these in, because they tend to make the biggest difference on ground level, at least in my opinion. Might need that space behind that or some sort of tree, but we will see. I'm going to move that rock so I can get some grass in there. I want some grass. Okay, I might have to move that rock as well so I can get some grass in this space. No? Okay, these can come over here then. There we go. That one there. One out the back, maybe one in the gap just there. Could we get one running alongside? I don't think we can, but we might be able to squeeze one down the side. And probably one at the back. And then maybe one on that side. Great. I think we can put one there too, and maybe there. And then I'll just pop a couple down for now. We'll probably need to tweak them if we do make this section more of a woodland bit, but for now, that looks good. I wonder if I move that down just one. Could I fit one just against the water? I can. Even better. Okay. That looks good. That kind of looks like a cute little kind of country garden for the enchanted cottage. So what else have we got over here that is on ground level? We've got stuff and bits and bobs. All very important. Especially these mossy kind of rocks that we sit just on the edge of the paths. Just to make it all blend in. I should really be fast forwarding through this stuff, but this is why you're here, right? For a cozy long play. To hear me chatterbox about everything and nothing all at the same time. Maybe one there. I think we can do one there. Yeah. Pop one on the other side. Get one in that gap. One on the edge. Look at that, all coming together. And then I will maybe find a spot for some of the bigger rocks as well. You know, the ones that we used in a couple of the other places on the other side. But for now, we'll work with these little ones. I will be honest, this biome has felt much more challenging to build than I thought that it would. When I saw it empty, I knew that it was like, you know, I knew that it was big, but actually working on it and trying to come up with something to put here, it's been more of a challenge than I initially thought. So always worth bearing that in mind if you're starting something new. Here's one of the bigger rocks. I think we can probably find a home for a couple of them. Just dotted about. And then we do, of course, have that like really big one as well that I might try and find somewhere to put. I'm gonna move that so I can drop that in. That's, where is it? That angle? Yeah. So I do have this one. I might put this, actually, yeah, I'm gonna put that right behind that pergola. If I can fit it in the space. Where is it? There we go. Just as kind of like its own sort of separator type thing. And I can always just drop a couple more of these around if necessary. Great. I'm just going to go back to the shrub section because I know that some of the Sunlit Plateau ones this color as well, and I didn't think to use those on the other side. I know that I said I wasn't going to use the yellow ones from Storybook Vale, but actually I quite like these Sunlit Plateau ones. All roads lead back to this right-hand side, apparently. I don't know why I keep coming back here to make edits, but here we are. Just gonna drop maybe just a couple of these around. Maybe, where can we get you? Maybe just there. I wasn't sure if there was a red one. Well, there is this. Oh, there is kind of like an orangey one as well. So these can be useful. Pop a couple of these down. There we go. Just going to move my crafting table because that is not going to be there. Great. And then I think maybe we can just bring some... Maybe we can bring some pumpkins over from the other side as well. Because, again, they don't have to be explicitly Halloween related to be usable, but they do definitely feel autumnal. I'm going to move that out of the way too, because I won't have one of those. And then we'll bring in this one with a little smiley face on. find some homes for them. Something like that. And I think we've got the ones with the blue on too. So I'm going to grab these. And then we'll put one maybe there, out the back. Possibly in this little section by the poo house. I'm going to move that firewood because I don't think it's totally necessary by the poo bit. And we'll just place it in that gap. And then I can bring those forward kind of like there. Which means I can drop some more of these in. And these ones in particular are really handy because they're in like a cluster. It just builds out the ones you've already placed down. Just like that. Okay. The finish line is kind of in sight. I do see it. I don't think we're a million miles away. So I'm just going to keep adding some decorative touches with the elements that we've already used. Yeah, that looks cute. Maybe we can even finish that side off with the trellis. I love how this has come together. I really do. I wasn't sure how I'd feel, but it's gone better than expected. So that is always a plus. If something goes better than you were expecting it to, take the win. Now I do have a tall stack of crates because I did craft a couple more, so we can also maybe dot some of those around in this area. One there. Probably another one out the back. I'm gonna rotate that the other way. Actually, I think I might put that on this side. From above, it doesn't even look like, you know, it doesn't look like that much, but it's come together pretty quickly. And then the mushrooms, of course, these are a very important and integral part. Again, because they light up. We love those. Now, I believe that they are in the other menu. No, they are in this one. So I'm just going to go around, find homes for some of these, which honestly shouldn't be too difficult. Still unsure what this dragon represents, but it doesn't matter. It can be anything. Let me bring these mushies out over here. Maybe have one, maybe about there. I feel like I need some of the green shrubs as well, so I will have to remember to bring those across. Mushies. Is there a little gap anywhere for you? There. One maybe here? Like I said earlier, creating clusters of stuff feels more natural than spreading everything out evenly. I don't make the rules. It's just the way it is. Perfect. And then I'm going to grab one of these and I'm just going to start filling in some more of the gaps. If I can. At ground level, maybe one here. And this is kind of the process I probably should have used on the first pass on the other side to just layer everything. Actually, I guess that's the best way to kind of phrase it. Is the best way is to layer everything on top of each other. So start at as low as you can get on ground level, and then really just start to layer it up from there. That should give you kind of like a clear enough space to work with then without having the canopies of the trees too in your way. Then I'm going to grab the lighter color one. We'll just go in and we'll dot this one around as well. Because I think we'll pretty much just be on tree duty once all of this is in. Or maybe lights. We might need some lights in this section, kind of like where the paths are, at the very least. Okay, I think that looks good. I do know I have... Where is that banner? I do have this banner, but I don't think that it's really necessary anywhere else. I mean, I guess decoratively we could maybe put it somewhere like that. Something like that, perhaps. And maybe I could just put another little shrub. Kind of like there, and have that path come out. Yeah, that's cute. That works for me. I'm happy with that. Now, what lighting should I use on this side? I feel like we might just be able to get away with... Actually, maybe I'll use some atrium candles. I feel like I don't use enough candles, and I have a bunch of them, so... Let's find homes for these. These are not going to be able to replace the main lights. Sort of like the ancient ones that we used a little bit. But I think that we can still... I think we can still dot these around and them still be like really cute. And they don't have to be everywhere. Maybe just where there's kind of like people or areas where stuff is going on. Some on the crate, maybe. Oops. Got rid of that shrub. Yeah. That's cool. I like how that's turned out. So I think I need to craft a couple more of the Ancients lampposts, and we'll finish off. So I'm gonna just place a couple of these down randomly. Well, not randomly, everything's intentionally placed, but I'm gonna place them down before we get to doing the trees, and it makes life more difficult. So again, you can see I've gone with that triangle sort of thing here. But I think just spreading them out so they aren't too uniform is always the best approach, at least for me. Maybe we need one kind of over, maybe there. That feels a little bit too off the path. I don't know, it kind of feels like it. Oh, okay, I can fit it in there. That's cool. And I really am just gonna kind of like light the pathway with these ones. That's my intention. Put one here. Move this one down. I think that should be it for that side. And then I can have another one here. There, maybe next to the pergola. one kind of there, and then maybe a final one. Well, actually, no, unless we have... No, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. They're just for a little bit of, kind of like a little bit of height and visual interest, I guess. So they look cool. I am very happy with those. Just looking at that gap, I feel like I kind of want some more pumpkins, just in that very one specific gap. And I think that's about it. I know I've got a couple more sandbags. We've already got some tools and stuff up here, so they might fit. Got these like singular ones as well. I just think like stuff like this helps the immersion, if that's what you're going for, of course. And this is not really like a fairy build, or it's kind of, it's almost a realistic build. I've not gone too whimsical with anything, which is super easy to do sometimes because we have loads of whimsical stuff in the game. I don't like that there. I don't know why I put that there. But I'm going to go back onto trees now. So let's get placing down some trees. I actually think a green one would be better over there, but maybe a red one. Green one in the corner. Get rid of that. Place a green one back here. Yeah. Maybe a maple reaching out over this section. Kind of like that. Yeah. There we go. Where's my silver birch? Not the red one. I want the small green one. And what do you need to move to be able to fit? The mushroom. There we go. That's nice. I like that. Let me use a couple more of these around. Wherever I actually can. I might need to remove some of the grasses here and there just to be able to fit these in. Because they do actually have a pretty big footprint for what they are. Here, maybe another one right there. I think that works. And what else have we got? We've got these kind of like really full book trees. But again, this is an even larger footprint, so I really have to be mindful of where I can squeeze these ones in. If I get rid of that, I should be able to fit one just behind this. And then this is one of the taller ones, so I'm going to use some of the taller silver birches as well. I think it's... okay, that fits there. Wasn't expecting that to fit. I wonder if I get rid of those rocks and have one right against the water. That would be a cute place. Just like that. Lovely. Then I know we've got these ones, which are also super impactful. And that's what I was thinking of having in the corner, but it doesn't seem to want to place itself down there. That's okay. Can have it there instead. Maybe one out the back. maybe one here. And you've been with me long enough now to know that this is mostly just trial and error. Trying stuff, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. I can fit that in if I move this rock, I believe. And I think the trees always look good like next to water sources. I'm not sure why. But they just feel like they always look good next to the ponds. This is looking really good. I love this. I do feel like it maybe needs some trees like in this bit though. So maybe I need to move that. Or do we like that? I kind of like that. I feel like it kind of sets the tone. We can put one down here. I'm going to bring that kind of wonky maple again back out. Maybe over there. Or actually maybe... No. I think that has had its... I think that has had its time. The only other place I was thinking of putting it was there, but we already have one right off that, so I don't think it's entirely necessary. And then what else do we have? Oh, we do have these ones. Could I fit these in anywhere? Maybe around this tree? Yeah, that looks good. We can also use these in this area. I move those rocks back. Should be able to get one next to that mining node, which is pretty cool. Maybe another one there. And then maybe another one there, because why not? Yeah, I like that. It looks fun. And then we do have these little ones too. Although we seem to be running out of floor space. But I think we can still squeeze a couple of these in. Maybe one there. Maybe where there's a lot of green. So there's actually a lot of green over here. So I can fit these kind of in these little spaces. Just off the pool house. Something like that. I like that. And then I do think this grass needs to go. And I think maybe we need one of these. Maybe like that? Does it need to, the canopy needs to come like there? Yeah. Oh, it's like it was meant to be. It's like it was meant to be. I'm going to get rid of that, actually. And then I think maybe we put another shrub in that spot. Cool. I think that we are very nearly completed. I'm going to take a quick look from a bird's eye view, but I don't think really that there's anything else I could possibly want to fit in this aesthetic anymore. The only thing that I'm considering just in the back of my mind is maybe this central section. needs a teeny tiny bit of work. I'm not going to edit it too much, but I'm kind of thinking in the back of my mind, maybe it needs some seating or something. It just feels a little bit runway. So I'm probably going to tweak that a little bit, but I won't make too many changes. And I think we're just about done. So what I will do is I will give you a tour of the whole biome in both day and night. But look at that from above. We've made great progress today. Thank you for sticking with me if you did. Let's take a walk around. If we wander on down from the plaza, you can take a look at it in the morning light. I really love this kind of, I guess it's sort of a runway just right through the middle. It's a nice easy way for me to still access Dazzle Beach, but this pumpkin Mickey topiary, honestly, it just gets me in the mood for autumn, gets me in the mood for Halloween. So if we come off to the left, we've got those little entry pennants. We do have an entrance just here to Wally's garden. So that feels very rustic. And of course, we enclose that completely with the trellises on the other side. And we do have that super quick and easy Vizier table to cook with. But if I come out of there, we stroll past all of the natural elements, the mushies, the big tree with the bookcase in it. We kind of follow this around. We do get to this little fire pit area, which is kind of like Belle's garden. Used a couple of those cocoa rugs, which do look different in the day. They do actually just look like fall rugs in the day. But of course, at night or in the evening, they do light up and glow. I like this little walkway we have as well. I'm not sure how this will work with mounts when we get Wish Blossom Ranch, if you can actually go under them on horses or not. We'll just have to wait and see. We do have the fountain here as well, which is not actually turned on. So let's go ahead and turn that on. And then, of course, we've got the mailbox with the lovely unread mail bug. Hopefully, if you're watching this in the future, that will have been fixed. And then we've got Belle's cottage right here, which I think is really adorable. I'm really glad that I purchased that one. And then just off the back out here, this is a bit more wild and untamed, but we do have the actual well from that house, which is attached to it. And then we've got some crates, some trellises, just some bits and bobs that you would kind of see in a working garden, which I think really adds to the vibe. I like this kind of like landscaping rock that we just use to break up the space. We've got a trellis just coming off the other entrance from the plaza. And then, of course, we've got the exit down to Dazzle Beach that way. But coming on over here, we also have Fairy Godmother's house. The nice big pumpkin surrounded by pumpkins. I think that all works really nicely together. The color scheme is perfect. I love this little well as well that matches the roof of the house. We've got Goofy Store here to purchase stuff if we need to. And both of those mining nodes are still accessible, which is always handy. And then you can also go back up the steps to the plaza this way. And there is that secondary entrance to Wally's just over here. But if I come back down into our main thoroughfare, if you will, and then we turn right, we get the bigger part of the biome with Simba having a great time there. Underneath the pennants again, we've got that Pooh Bear inspired honey house, which has the honey dripping off it. So I've used some of those honey pots. We've also got some actual beehives, which we can, again, turn on. So some bees come out of those. Put that one on as well. And then we do have that Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh tree, which is a very autumnal tree, which is what we're going for. It has all the different colored leaves in one, and it has that little red balloon coming out of it. Can't leave these ones out. We'll turn that on as well. Moving around, we've got some foliage items. We've got a topiary, and then we've got that really cute enchanted cottage. I think it's one of like the prettiest buildings in the game, just because it's so fluid and it has a lot of curves to it. But outside of that, we've got these cute little rocking chairs with a table, just kind of like a front garden. And then we've also got some decoration up the back up there. Cute little scarecrow just here. Moving on, we also have this dragon for no reason other than it matches the color scheme, but we can follow the path around. And it just has lots of natural elements in it. I love all of the colors, the red, orange, and yellow that we've chosen. Around to the back of that enchanted house. We've got the wishing well, so that's where you, of course, spawn when you fast travel to this biome. We've got a little fire pit we can gather people with if we like. We have both of the exits down to the glade, which is TBD on my decorating agenda. And then we've got that really fun pergola that goes around the tree, and I've popped a picnic blanket underneath. Got some more fall decor and fall items over here. This wilted flower cottage house that is completely and utterly autumn in every way, with the color scheme and the flowers falling down, which also lights up at night, which is a really nice touch. And then we have that seating area with the table and some more fall leaves just over this side, which you can access just here. So you can sit down and have a lovely dinner if you would like to. Quickly switching over to the evening time, you can see that all of the lights turn on and it completely changes the vibe. I think that that warm glow from all of the lighting just really adds to the ambiance. We've got a load of candles dotted around. We've got the mushies, which light everything else up, especially with the way that they have a warm glow. Some of the pumpkins actually turn on. The rugs just underneath here have an additional glow to them. I know that a lot of people like to use those for lava builds. All of the lights turn on. The vines just over by Fairy Godmother's house look even cuter when the light inside the flower comes on. Even the pumpkin scarecrow here lights up. Of course, the pumpkin Mickey topiary also looks amazing. And just walking around this side with the glow from the houses, that honeypot house or that honeycomb house looks great. The enchanted house looks super cute. And this is just somewhere that I would like to take a stroll just on an autumn's evening. Maybe in more clothes than rolled up sleeves, but this whole biome is now completely and utterly autumn filled. So I hope that you enjoyed this build. I love how it turned out. All of these kind of elements coming together, really bringing me those autumn vibes. Looking good. Right, gang, that is it for this video. We are all wrapped up for today. I do hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you enjoyed hanging out with me for a couple of hours. If you did, please give this video a like. Maybe consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. I do have more cozy long plays in the bank and on the way, so keep an eye out for those. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today. If you do want to use any of these ideas, feel free. That is absolutely why I make these videos. Use whatever you like, ask any questions down in the comments below. But I am going to leave it there for today, so I will catch you in the next one, and I will, of course, see you in the valley.